Good morning. Today I will be analyzing the graphic novel American Born Chinese by Jean Luen Yang. In this comic, there are three main characters, the Monkey King, Jin, and Chin Ki. These different characters go through different changes throughout the novel and learn different lessons. The main message of this graphic novel is to accept who you are and your identity. The author also uses moments of his life and implements events that happened to him as a way of sharing his experience. Jin is an American boy who has trouble with his identity. He doesn't know how to accept his Chinese cultural background, although throughout the novel he goes through mental changes to finally realize and accept his true identity. The author Jean Luen Yang uses a variety of visual and technical techniques to get the message across to the reader. He uses different techniques such as stereotyping, emphasis on words, different angles and panels, as well as hyperbole and onomatopoeia. At the end of this analysis, it will become clear that these techniques are important to help relay the different messages behind the story as well as the characters changed throughout the graphic novel. Jin goes through mental changes throughout the book, which changes his perspective on his Chinese background. The author uses techniques such as onomatopoeia and emphasis, as well as other techniques to illustrate this change Jin goes through. As we can see on page 27, panel 4, Jin says, "I want to be a transformer." He then continues to explain that a transformer is a robot in disguise. This shows that Jin feels the stress of accepting his true identity and wants to stay hidden just like the transformer he wants to be. The author shows that Jin is distressed because of his facial expressions as well as the emphasis on words. This shows that he is insecure about his Chinese culture and doesn't wish to show that side of him, and thus it leads to him creating a mental block and him experiencing that people will judge him because of his background. He is afraid of how others view him and thus has a mental block and dislikes his Chinese heritage. The author also uses emphasis on words to help interpret this idea. Jean Luen Yang uses emphasis on these particular words, transformer and robot in disguise. These are two most important words or phrases as it relates to Jin the most. It shows how Jin is thinking mentally about his appearance and how insecure he is that he wants to hide a part of him as well as how he wants to transform to fit in with his society. This shows that he is mentally not prepared to reveal his true identity. If we look deeper, we can also see the panel shape is quite small and rectangular, forcing that to be a close-up view. This then makes the reader focus more on Jin, and it will then lead them to see his expressions more clearly and what he means by his words. This can also be shown through stereotyping on page 32 and panel 6. In panel 6, we see a student approaches Jin and asks him what he's eating. Jin then continues to say dumplings. The student acts as if it's a bad thing by acting scared and stereotypes him saying, "Stay away from my dog." This, the meaning behind this is that he thinks all Chinese people eat dogs. This then makes Jin feel uncomfortable and lonely as no one will accept him with his Chinese background. Therefore, his mentality has changed and he tries to hide it and stay as far as possible from it. By the student saying, "Stay away from my dog," Jin gets the message that he has to hide his Chinese culture, otherwise, he'll be judged for it, and thus, when he thinks about it constantly, he feels pressure to hide his Chinese culture, creating a lot of mental pressure for himself. Moving forward with the novel, Jin continues to have the same mentality, but in the second chapter, his mindset about his Chinese background changes, as he is now not only trying to fit in, but as well as make good impression on other people. This can be seen on page 91 in panel 4, as the author uses a close-up to zoom in on his face to show he has a sudden change in feelings for Amelia. To further enhance his emotions, the author uses the word zing in onomatopoeia, with his hair sticking out in contrast as if he'd been struck by lightning. In fact, he has been struck by a metaphorical lightning of love. As we move on page 97 in panel 1 and 2, the author portrays that Wei Chen has realized that Jin has feelings for Amelia, and Wei Chen confronts Jin, telling him that you should go and ask her out. However, because of Jin's insecurity, he is reluctant to asking her out. You can see this as in panel 1, Jin is pushing, Wei Chen is pushing Jin to go and ask Amelia out. However, because of Jin's insecurity, he is scared. You can see this through his facial expressions. However, Wei Chen's expression shows that he is disappointed. In the second panel, however, you can see that Wei Chen is thinking of a turtle, and this turtle symbolizes Jin as he is being scared and feeling insecure about his Chinese background. He feels that he will be rejected because and judged because of his Chinese background. However, towards the end of the novel, he overcomes this obstacle as he gathers enough courage and asks her out. And this changes his mindset about his Chinese culture. In the last chapter, Jin goes through different events that cause him to think deeply about his Chinese background. These events cause him to think that he needs to change as he will not be accepted the way he is. The author shows this by using a panel which shows Jin in deep thought. Jin thinks about changing so much that he actually changes physically. However, this was already foreshadowed as the Chinese wife's herbalist said, "It is easy to become anyone you want as long as you are willing to forfeit your soul." And as we can see, this is what happens to Jin. However, towards the end, the Monkey King makes him realize that he should accept himself because that is the best version of him, and thus Jin changes back to his original form. In conclusion, the author Jean Luen Yang uses different techniques to make the graphic novel interesting as well as send different messages to the reader. The author also links a few events that happened in his lifetime. By the end of the graphic novel, you will realize accepting yourself and your identity is necessary as that is the best version of you.